The 19th of April 1912 is fairly cold. This is the day when Abdu'l-Bahá gives a talk at the Bahá'í mission. At the end of the talk, Abdu'l-Bahá stands at the door, and as the audience files by him, he clasps into each palm some silver coin as a symbol and the price of a bed. No one is shelterless this night.
At the time that Abdu'l-Bahá came to this place, most of the homeless people who were there, they were either Irish, they were all white, and they could receive a great deal of support at that time. But as the time goes by and they are facing today a new dilemma, a new problem, it seems that the great number of our homeless brothers and sisters are the people of color. So it's so wonderful to be present among them. He also spent a great deal of time with the average folks and the homeless people, and he often referred to them as my brother.
And although in the material realm you are poor, yet in the kingdom of God, you are precious. Jesus himself was poor. He did not belong to the rich. He passed his time in the desert traveling amongst the poor. And he lived upon herbs in the field. He had no place to lay his head, no home. He was exposed to heat and cold and frost, to inclement weather of all kinds. Yet he chose this rather than riches. Therefore, we will thank God that we have been so blessed with riches. We will thank God that we have been so blessed with real riches. We will thank God. We will thank God. We will thank God. And in conclusion, I ask you to accept me, Abdu'l-Bahá, as your servant.
On the morning of Sunday, April the 14th, the promise of spring is in the air. This is the day Abdu'l-Bahá is to make his first official appearance in New York at the Church of Ascension. The church's wooden doors are open well ahead of time due to the multitude of people waiting. In the end, they will count to over 2,000 people. The church rector, Dr. Percy Stickney Grant, has spared nothing in preparations for the service and the decoration of the church. Abdu'l-Bahá, standing in his flowing white robes, surrounded by lights and lilies, his turban head hallowed by the rays of the sun filtering through the colored windows, dominating all with simple, majestic dignity, his arms stretched out towards the crowd. He then addressed the congregation in his vibrating and melodious voice. Ending his address, Abdu'l-Bahá is asked to give the benediction. He lifts up his face. He closes his eyes and turns up his palms in supplication to God. He then chants a prayer, the clergyman kneeling on each side of him. Miss Juliet Thompson, probably echoing the feelings of the Baha'is that day, writes, "Too great to put into words, it was almost too great to bear."
14 churches, they wanted to have Abdu'l-Bahá as a speaker as soon as he arrives. And because of Juliet Thompson and her relation with Percy Grant, who was the minister, Abdu'l-Bahá accepted the invitation of Minister Grant. And actually he sent a telegram while he was in Cedric coming to America and informing him that he will be on Sunday, April 14, he would appear in the church.
Close to the Church of Ascension, where Abdu'l-Bahá made his first public appearance, on 48 West 10th Street, lies the little townhouse where the artist Juliet Thompson lives with her mother. In the corner of Juliet's whispering old studio stands a fragile armchair of black oak, surprisingly small. She will later put a cord across it. No one will ever sit in it again, since this is the chair of Abdu'l-Bahá.
Another person met Abdu'l-Bahá who lives right behind you, used to, and his name was Khalil Gibran. And I think among all the people that Abdu'l-Bahá had met, President Andrew Carnegie, Admiral Perry, and many others, the visit and meeting of Khalil Gibran was the most significant one. Because this man is considered the third greatest poet that ever lived.
I am greatly pleased with my visit to this university. Praise be to God that this country abounds in such institutions of learning where the knowledge of sciences and arts may readily be applied. As material and physical science are taught here and are constantly unfolding in wider vistas of attainment, I am hopeful that spiritual development may also follow and keep peace with these outer advantages. As material knowledge is illuminating those within the walls of this great temple of learning, so also may the light of the Spirit, the inner and divine light of the real philosophy, glorify this institution. The most important principle of divine philosophy is the oneness of the world of humanity, the unity of mankind, the bond conjoining East and West, the tie of love which blends human hearts.
In this library, there is an inscription written by Abdu'l-Bahá in his own hand in the guest book of the library. Because we asked him, why didn't Abdu'l-Bahá get invited to his home or to his office? And they said, well, the library was really where J.P. Morgan liked to receive celebrities and people of note. And Belle de Costa Green herself is a very interesting figure. She was the librarian, the head librarian for this institution for 43 years. Wow. She was born to an African-American family in Washington, D.C., where she grew up. And she was really key in supporting J.P. Morgan's manuscript collection. They believe that she was the one who really drove the purchase of the Persian manuscripts that Abdu'l-Bahá viewed and took 2 hours viewing the art and the manuscripts from Persia being held in this library. So we believe that it was her driving that, not so much J.P. Morgan. So we have the inscription from Abdu'l-Bahá because she's the one who said everyone who visits must sign the guest book. And so That's why we have it. And so you can see here the photograph.
Abdu'l-Bahá wrote in
And
Persian.
Abdu'l-Bahá wrote this inscription here.
What is it saying?
Well, Dr. Amin Farid translated it immediately into English in beautiful kind of handwriting.
Beautiful penmanship.
Yeah. So you've got Abdu'l-Bahā's handwriting and then the handwriting of Dr. Amin Farid. Wow. I'll just show you as
And
well.
what was the date? It said November 18th.
November 1912.
November 18th.
On the 29th of June 1912, Abdu'l-Bahá travels from Montclair to West Englewood in New Jersey for an unity feast. Having traveled many hours, he briefly rests at the home of Mr. Roy Wilhelm. An eyewitness describes the event. The meeting was arranged in a circle under the trees, with almost 200 people seated at the table and being served by the Baha'is. Everyone enjoyed the delicacies and was extremely happy. The green lawn under the shade tree was strewn with flowers, so it seemed as if an embroidered carpet has been spread. To see the master walking in this green flower-covered garden, with a gentle breeze blowing, the purity of the air, the cleanliness of the surroundings, and the rejoicing of the friends was most pleasing. When Abdu'l-Bahá at last enters the circle, he gives an eloquent address on the greatness of the Baha'i faith, the influence of the Word of God, and the importance of the meeting of the friends and the need for unity among them.
Welcome, welcome, dearest extended family of Abdu'l-Bahá. We are here to celebrate something very close to our hearts, very unique for the history of the human race. And this is relate to the life and the accomplishments of Abdu'l-Bahá, the son of Baha'u'lláh, prophet and founder of the Baha'i faith, who visited America in 1912, traveled all over the country, including Canada and whole American continent, trying to bring unity of the friends and show respect to every other religious group, every other human being, acknowledging the growth of the human race at large and calling us to embrace the new teachings of Baha'u'lláh, which will be a savior for this earth in these days. So we welcome you as a part of the New York City Baha'i community in collaboration with New Jersey TNEC local assembly, and thank to Brian and his family who is hosting us today to give some refreshing our memories of what this event which happened here in this property was all about.
We are drops of one ocean, We are waves of one sea, Come and join us in our quest for unity. It's the way of life for you and me. We are flowers of one garden, We are leaves of one tree, Come and join us in our quest for unity. It's the way of life for you and me. All the world is one country, Man is one. Can't you see? Come and join us in our quest for unity. It's the way of life for you and me. It's the way of life for you and me. It's the way of life for you and me.
Bravo. That Abdu'l-Bahá was quite anxious to come to America and try to participate in this major conference, peace conference, and trying to share his views and the principle of Baha'i faith, which is the unity of mankind and prevention of this kind of warfare, to share it with others. So back and forth correspondings. Eventually, he was invited officially by Ismaili brothers to be the speaker in that conference. The conference was attended by some of the great luminaries, by great figures.
But in this century, its progress cannot be compared with that of the past centuries. This is the century of light and of bounty. In the past, the unity of patriotism, the unity of nations and religions was established. But in this century, the oneness of the world of humanity is established. Hence, this century is greater than the past.
We can imagine the last few days that Abdu'l-Bahá was in New York. It was a very sad occasion for the friends who have spent so much time with him. When you read the Juliet Thompson diary, you could feel how sad she is that her beloved is leaving the New York shore and she may never see him again. Abdu'l-Bahá was very fond of New York, and he often mentioned that I have spent more time in New York than anywhere else, which is true. He spent about 85 days here. Around 11:30 or so, he finished his talk, and then he went sat on a corner. A friend again surrounded him and said goodbye to him and showed their love for him. And eventually, when the ship was ready, around 12 o'clock, they all left and came on the deck of the ship and began to wave hand, and they all were crying and they were very sad that he's leaving. And the ship left past the Statue of Liberty.
Bless thou, O King of Kings, the city of New York. Cause the friends there to be kind to one another. Purify their souls and make their hearts to be free and detached. Illumine the world of their consciousness. Bless thou, O King of Kings, the city of New York. Cause the friends there to be kind to one another. Exhilarate their spirits and bestow celestial power and confirmation upon them. Establish there a heavenly realm, so that the city of Baha may prosper, and New York be favored with blessings from the Abha kingdom, that this region may become like the all highest paradise, may develop Bless thou, O King of Kings, the city of New York. Bless thou, O King of Kings, the city of New York. Bless thou, O King of Kings, the city of New York.
5th of December 1912, talk on day of departure, on board steamship Celtic, New York. This is my last meeting with you, for now I am on the ship ready to sail away. These are my final words of exhortation. I have repeatedly summoned you to the cause of the unity of the world of humanity, announcing that all mankind are the servants of the same God, that God is the creator of all. He is the provider and life giver. All are equally beloved by him and are his servants upon whom his mercy and compassion descend.
This little bottle here we have the prayer for New York, the prayer for America, and personal prayer for if eventually anybody find it and open it up, it will be a blessing for them too. And we have Buddy here who is gonna help me to throw them, to throw it to the water. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Yay! Careful now, watch it.
What is the third one?
Let them arrive the shore of Akka.